What is going on, guys? It's your boy Sombrowski, and I'm here with a Strength Intelligence build guide. For this build, we're going to be focusing on the Ruins Greatsword as well as Lusat's Glintstone Staff. We're going to get both of these to plus 10 via Somber Smithing Stone upgrades, and as you can see, they both scale with S rating in effectively Intelligence and Strength, so they comp really well together. The actual armor we're going to be using, we're predominantly going to be using Radagon's armor set, but we're going to make an exception for Renala's crown. And this is where things get up to personal preference. So we are going to have a couple staples for our build. One of those is going to be the Great Arsenal's Jar, or Radagon Soreseal, sometimes combined depending on what you're going for. Stargazer Heirloom is also essential, as we are not going to be getting our intelligence actually up to 60. As you can see, my stats right now are buffed because Radagon Soreseal gives you like 20 levels. From there, this is where things get up to personal preference. Now, I like to highlight the jump attacks. Claw Talisman I use pretty much on this build all the time, but when it comes to you going more tanky or going more magey, you're going to want to pick between either the Carian Filligreed Crest, which is going to make this use less mana. Alternatively, if you would like to use our Comet Azur spell, and you want to highlight that for your build, you're probably going to want to focus on this Graven School Talisman. From here, our spells, as you can see, we have Comet Azur, and then we have Rock Sling so that we can hit things from an extreme distance. By level 150, this is what your stats should look like without stat boosting items, and if you do want to get rid of Radagon Soreseal, you can substitute Vigor by 2 points with Endurance and get it up to 31. We want our Endurance high so that we can get to 62 poise so we can soak hits like this when swinging a slow weapon. And last but not least, we're going to need the Cerulean hidden tier for our Wondrous Physick, which gives us infinite FP for a limited time, allowing us to melt through mini bosses like this. So now I'm going to show you how to do everything from the beginning. So first we're going to head to the Church of Sellia from the first step, which is straight north past the Tree Sentinel. We're going to get a level 1 smithing stone and talk to Kale to get the crafting kit. Then we're going to head east out of the church until we hit this bonfire, at which point we're going to sit, talk to Melina, and she'll give us Torrent, our horsey. Now we're going to go through this gate and haul ass on Torrent all the way up the hill until we see the golden seed. We're going to pick that up and continue up the road to this bonfire here. At which point we're going to talk to the lady, get the stone sword key, and maybe a jellyfish on the way. Then we're going to keep going up this road, and we're going to come across the ambush and not worry about them. Just keep sprinting, hit this bonfire. Now we're ready to fight Margit. Now all we have to do is summon Sorcerer Sellen and hit him with Glintstone Pebble from a distance. You can do this at level 1, so that's why we're tackling him now. Once we defeat him, we'll get our first Talisman pouch and we'll hit this bonfire. Now we can talk to Melina again, get invited to the Round Table Hold. While we're here, we will be hitting the Twin Maiden Husk, and be sure to pick up the Memory Stone for 3,000 souls. Now we're gonna head backwards, and we're gonna go from Gatefront through Agil Lake North. We're gonna cross this bridge until we come to this point where we're gonna talk to Sorcerer Sellen. There will be a Pumpkinhead mini-boss guarding her, but don't worry about him, he's pretty easy. Just clear him and then talk to Sorcerer Sellen through the fog door after completing him. This will start her questline. From Sorcerer Sellen, head all the way south, past the Bridge of Sacrifice. There will be a Somber Smithing Stone 1 or 2 right here near the bonfire, but continue past that into the ravine, and then grab the Morning Star from this carriage. Now we have a few more things to grab before we leave here. Make sure to grab the Sacred Tears from the Kalu Baptismal Church. Make sure to grab the Golden Seed on the way to Castle Morn. And if you would like a Somber Smithing Stone 2 over on the beach right here, right before Castle Morn, there is one. But the main things we're here for are the Sacred Tier upgrades. So we've got the Golden Seed and the 1 Sacred Tier here. And then we're going to go ahead all the way to the north of Church of Pilgrimage. Now to get there, once you hit this junction, just cross this road all the way here and get to the bridge. And then once you get to the bridge, you should be able to get here. and that'll give you another sacred tier. And then you're going to go all the way to the southwest to the 4th Church of America, and that will be the last pit stop in terms of things that we actually need here. Now we're going to head to Fort Height so we can get the left half of the Dectus Medallion. Be sure to grab the golden seed on the way, and then head up these stairs. Now there's a knight that you'll see there that just attacked me. If you kill him, he'll give you Bloody Slash, which will be useful for a boss coming up. From Fort Height, we're going to want to go all the way back up the road until we reach this point, 3rd Church of America. Once we reach here, there's a sacred tier as well as the Wondrous Flask of Physick for us to pick up that'll give us access later to the Cerulean hidden tier. Now that we've got all of our setup things in Limgrave, we can go ahead and leave and head towards Caelid. So to get there, we're going to want to get to Saints Bridge. The easiest way to go about that is from Stormhill Shack. If you just go east, you'll see Saints Bridge. You'll know you're almost here when you reach the camp, or you can summon your Lone Wolf Ashes. Just continue down the hill and there's a bonfire before the bridge. Now we're just going to keep past this Pumpkinhead. We're going to completely ignore him. And we're just going to run straight across this field. Now once we get to the bottom of this field, you'll notice there's a town in a sunken lake right after this bonfire. At which point we're going to go and fight the boss here to get a very useful Spirit Ash. I believe, at least in the early game. You get the Skeletal Militia Ashes, and whenever they die, they act like the rest of the skeletons in the game and have a period where they can be resurrected. So they can be really useful for stalling. Top of this hill is going to be the Smoldering Church, where you want to be quick because we're going to get invaded here. But we're not too worried about them because they drop something better for a faith build, so just keep past until you reach this next bonfire. Now we're going to continue along the road to the northeast, and we're going to pass the big horde of enemies until you reach this carriage guarded by 2 dogs, where we get our first weapon for the build, the Greatsword. Now we're going to utilize this until we get enough strength for our main weapon, which does require 50 strength to wield. Big rip. So you're going to continue through past Caelum Ruins until you get to the Smoldering Wall, at which case we're going to light the next bonfire. Now from the Smoldering Wall or Caelum Ruins, we're going to go northeast until we see the next waypoint, which will give us the map. But before we do that, we're going to hit these souls here in the graveyard, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Once you pass the jump, the next bonfire will be right across the way, and then head northeast. Further down the road, and you'll find the map. Now we're going to book it past these dragons, because the only thing of value is that golden rune 5, and you're just going to keep heading up the mountain. Through the forest, past the dragons. Honestly, if you stay to the right more, so I guess technically to the south, that makes it easier. But past the giant dragon and hit the bonfire before this castle. We have officially made it to Fort Faroth. Now this is a good place to farm for runes infinitely if you're not going to exploit the dragon, but we're here for the Dectus Medallion at the top. Now we're going to continue running along past the first drop down, and instead we're going to drop down here. Grab the golden rune 12, drop across, there's 2 rats to avoid, and grab Radagon Soreseal. And then we're going to get out of dodge as fast as possible. At this point, we're going to use the mace, or in my case the flail, to drill a hole in the dragon until he dies. And once he dies, we're going to get a hearty meal. Go ahead and level up, and we're going to head into Caelid. Now we're going to head back to the Smoldering Wall bonfire and descend into Caelid. So we're going to head south down the road till we hit the next map marker, which should give us southern Caelid. And we're going to keep going down into the swamp until we reach this bonfire. Now in the northwest of the swamp there's some little building icons on the map, and that's the direction we're headed. Now the location we're headed to is called the Streets of Sage Ruin. Be careful for these geysers as they can kill you, but we're here for 2 things. We're here for the Meteorite staff, which is going to be in this building on the backside, and then we're also here for the Rock Sling Sorcery, which is going to be our bread and butter until we get Comet Azur. From the Street of Sage's Ruin, we're going to go straight east until we reach the bonfire called Sellia under Stair. Once we reach this bonfire, we have a puzzle to complete before we can continue on. So we have to get on top of the rooftops, do some hardcore parkour, and make our way to the top of these bell towers, where there's going to be a brazier for us to light, and an icon telling us a seal has been broken. Now we're going to have to do this 2 more times, but before, grab that Cerulean to your Scarab if you want to go mage route with high FP, otherwise ignore it. For this build, you don't need high FP. Now do some more parkour across these routes, get to this second church, go ahead and light the brazier. Now the third one is actually closer to where the boss door is going to be, but first we're going to grab this stone sword key. So head up these stairs until you see the golden seed. Go ahead and grab it, and then jump straight off, light that last brazier. And now, we fight the boss. It's a double boss, Nox Sorceress and Nox Monk. As you can see, they're not very strong. And I definitely recorded this out of order, but I'm doing so in the order that I would recommend. So definitely come here before getting the Ruined Greatsword, but that's definitely going to be our goal here soon. Take out the Sorceress, you'll get Nox Flowing Sword, but that's not what we're here for. The bread and butter, baby. Lusat's Glintstone Staff. Now, head as far southeast as possible towards Caelid, and you'll come across Redmane Castle. At this point in the game, we have to make sure that we do this castle before we hit the Altus Plateau. Otherwise, we will be skipping the optional boss here, and we'll be missing out on the Ruined Greatsword. So follow the path that you see me going across, and I do take the fastest route. I don't loot this route. Notable weapon in this area that would be useful in the early game would be the Flamberg, and that is definitely a useful bleed weapon, especially for this boss, if you don't have the stats necessary to wield the Greatsword at this point. But once you hit this bonfire, feel free to attempt. Now I am definitely way more tanky and leveled and have grinded before attacking this boss. However, it is doable at this point in the game. But tips for you guys, if you're struggling on this boss and feel the need to come back, feel free to tackle Godric or Renala first, and get the magic glintstone blade while you're in the academy, so that way you can upgrade your greatsword with frost, which the Crucible Knight is susceptible to. And as you'll see with this jump attack, the greatsword has some of the highest poise reducing damage in the game, so it doesn't take many jump attacks. I think it takes like 3, and you should be able to riposte him. And that's a pretty viable strategy for fighting this guy. And now we have the Ruins Greatsword. We don't need this crash anymore. We can equip the baby girl. Now we're gonna make our way back to Stormville Castle, and you don't actually have to fight Godric at all. But we do need to come here to get the Claw Talisman. So when you go up those stairs and you announce the horn guy, where you get ambushed by everybody, you know you're headed in the right direction. So you're going to want to clear everybody here out first, and you're going to want to jump onto the ledge, walk around, and then drop down onto the wooden shack roof. Continue to walk around, then drop to the right to get 2 smithing stone 2s, and work your way back around the wall again. Now, you're going to climb this pillar, and you're going to jump onto the dilapidated part and run around the wall. Run up here, and there will be more guys to ambush you, but if you're fast enough, you can just get to the elevator and soak some hits. But at the top of this ladder is the Claw Talisman, and we can move on. Next, we're going to head to the Learning of the Lakes. We do need the Glintstone key, which is guarded by a dragon underneath these rocks. Once we have that, we should be able to access the academy. Once we enter the academy, there's a few things we're going to want to do before fighting the Wolf Radagon. Once you get to this area where all the enemies are, you can ignore this chest. It has a cracked ritual pot, and killing this guy just gives you a raw meat dumpling. You can get this furrow calling finger if you'd like. But what we're doing is, after this set of stairs, take a left, hit this fog wall, and you'll have access to Comet, the lesser version of Comet Azur. There's also a stone sword key, but then we're going to take the ladder up, and we're going to jump behind in this hole. Now there's a second hole to jump down, and right here is the Graven School Talisman. Now we can go ahead and fight Radagon. At this point in the game, he is extremely easy. That being said, I'm not dodging all that much because of that. Go ahead and get the next memory stone, and we can move forward. Now once you hit this courtyard after the debate parlor, there's a stone sword key, but if you hug to the left, there's going to be a Tear Scarab. If you destroy him, you'll get the Glintstone Crown. This will give you a boost to your mage stats, but it does come with a detriment. Grab the Golden Seed before jumping up here and running past like Indiana Jones. At this point, we're going to get invaded. Now, you don't have to kill this guy because we're not actually going to use anything that he drops, but he's pretty easy and he's a pain in the ass to be in the way. So, we're going to take him out and then get this loot. But before we fight the boss, we're going to open up the shortcut and we're going to go backwards. We're going to kill all these guys here. And then, once we reach the bottom of these stairs, where this guy's attacking, we're going to kill him, and then we'll get the magic glintstone blade. From here, we are ready to go back through the shortcut, take a left, go up this elevator, and we are officially ready to fight Rennala. Now, for those of you who haven't fought Rennala, in the first phase, you have to kill these guys with the glowing aura, throwing books 3 times for her to drop out of the sky. Then you're just going to murder her. And then, you think that this is easy? Well, there's phase 2. She's going to Kamehameha, you're going to get behind her in that opening attack and just start wailing on her because she gets stun locked. So the best strategy is offense. And invincibility frames. Alright, so we've taken out Rennala. Now we can buy her crown from the Twin Maidens or the Finger Lady. But first we're going to go to Iji, which is north of the 4 belfries and south of Cairo Manor. He sells Somber smithing stones 1 through 4 and the Carian Filligreed crests to reduce stamina on your weapon art. These are going to be useful before we tackle Radagon here. Be sure to talk to all the NPCs you can in the overworld because you can summon all of them that you talk to pretty much for this fight. Now for this fight, if you want to play it the long safe route, you can just run around and let the NPCs do all the killing and just summon them as they die. But where's the fun in that? As you can see, we're making use of our new Comet spell, and this does insane damage, but it doesn't do anything near as much damage as what we're going to do once we have the hidden Ceruleans here and Comet Azur. Be careful of this shockwave. It's really easy to avoid if you jump over it. But this is the point where most people die. When he jumps into the sky, you die. And he's gonna come down, just like Comet Azur from the sky right now. Don't get hit by that. You will get one tapped regardless of your build if you get hit by that. So go ahead and summon for the next wave. And it's time to fight. One more summon for good luck. And now, Radagon, it is time for you to die, my man. Gotta get up close because we want to make it personal. Now that we've defeated Radagon, we're going to head back to the Mistwood because there will be a crater in the ground that forms that we can now access Nokron, the Eternal City. So you're going to descend down these rocks like so. And it's a little dark in this clip, I'm sorry, but you go to this last one, and then drop down, and then eventually you'll hit this point, Nokron Eternal City. Now you can take both paths, but we wanted to get the Ghost Flame Torch, just cause. So take that, there's a Golden Rune 6 right here, and then run up this, whatever, building. Go ahead and run across until you jump in the window, and you can grab a Smithing Stone 5. Then you're going to drop down and get a Golden Rune 6, and there's a few other things. But go ahead and hit that next bonfire, and before we continue on, grab the Ghost Glowwort Pickle Bell Bearing. This will give you 1, 2, and 3 Ghost Glowwort from the Twin Maiden. Grab that larval tier in the church, and then come to the back side of the building here, and you might get ambushed, but there is some Ghost Glowwort 4 and 5. 3 and 4, my bad. Then you're going to go to this little graveyard, grab the Ghost Glowwort, attack this last guy, and you'll have the Great Shield Soldier Ashes and a Smithing Stone 5. Now we can descend down the path that takes us to the next boss. Grab the Golden Rune 7 and the Larval Tier on the way, and now we're ready to fight the Mimic Tier. Now, if you want to make this fight easier, you can cheese it. All you have to do is unequip your starting gear, as the Mimic Tier will copy whatever gear you go into the boss room with. So if you just want to beat on a naked and get an easy win, you can do that. For the sake of the clip though, why not? We're gonna fight ourselves. And he definitely does give us a little run for our money. But we're gonna give him the wham bam thank you ma'am. And then we're gonna flonk him, yep. And it's as simple as that. After defeating the Mimic Tier, you're gonna head along this bridge, up this road, but you're gonna take off to the left before there's another Radagon overworld boss here, and to the Ancestral Woods Bonfire. Alright, so jump down this building, and you're gonna jump to this ledge, and across. Now, you can come up this way to grab a rune arc, but otherwise, nothing here in the way of leaving. So, don't make that jump, you will die, I've done it before. Go ahead and jump onto this cathedral tower, and I would attack these guys from a range if you aren't just going to speedrun, because they are relatively tanky, and they hit pretty hard, even though they're just basic mobs. So, grab the Golden Rune 7 on the way, and then we're going to drop down. And we have the Black Whetstone Blade. Now, before we leave here, we're going to use a Stone Sword key so that we can actually summon the Mimic Tier. So after defeating the Nox Swordstress, open this chest, and you have the Mimic Tier. Now, we have one more thing to grab before we leave here, which is going to be the Fingerslayer Blade. Once you get to this ball, you can kill him from range, and he does drop a Larval Tier, so it's worth getting. But just continue past these enemies here in the church, and walk out of the cathedral. Now walk down the stairs and you have another bonfire. Now, once you've reached this bonfire, I'd recommend taking these guys out from range, otherwise they'll swarm like him. These first three are normal, but this last one definitely kill before he transforms into a giant. Now, we can grab the Fingerslayer Blade and a Great Ghost Glowwort 10, and it's time for us to head to Ranni. If you have not completed Carian Manor, you will have to do that first. But turn in the Fingerslayer Blade to Ranni, and she'll give you the Carian Inverted Statue. Now, it's time for us to head to the Carian Study Hall, located here on the map. The easiest way to get here is by heading to the Artist Shack, which is north of the Liurnia Lake Highway. You're going to cross this land bridge behind the shack, and then you're going to head east until you can head south down the mountain towards this tower. Once you enter this tower, we're going to place the inverted Carian statue on this pedestal, which will flip the cathedral upside down. We're now going to descend our way to the roof, I guess. And we're going to clear some basic mobs on the way. Drop down here, and we will be attacked by an invader. Fortunately, he doesn't respawn after killing him, and because we're a mage, we can honestly take him pretty easily out with range. So, we'll take him out, and then jump down, clear out the rest of these mobs. Any day now. Alright. Yep. Alright, so we've cleared out the mobs. Awesome. Now we need to jump on these chandeliers and descend onto these beams. From here, you're going to grab where you died the first time, and you're going to drop down onto the elevator. Once you go up the elevator, it's going to take you here, and we're going to open the door. Once we open the door, there's going to be a bridge. You can choose to fight this guy if you want, but you can honestly run straight past him to the other end of the tower. After defeating him, or getting smacked in the wall, or coming out clutch last second, you're going to enter the Divine Tower of Liurnia. You're going to go up the elevator, which is going to take you to a bonfire, and then walk up the stairs, and now we have the Stargazer Heirloom. Now, we need to make our last pit stop and head to Siofria to the very top north. And then you're going to use the Stone Sword key to ascend this elevator, run past all these guys and the scaries with the crossbow, and we're going to talk to the Great Jar Arsenal. From here, we have to defeat 3 invaders in succession without dying to complete the trial, and upon killing the 3rd one, we have the Great Jar Arsenal. Now it's time for us to use the 2 medallions and go ahead and lift the Grand Lift. We're going to go ahead and head up, and then we're going to speed run to the northwest. Follow the path that I'm making on my horse to that blue beacon in the distance. And once you hit Lux Ruins, if you just go to the east or to the right from here, you can jump off and hit this golden seed, which is going to be right next to our next bonfire. The Erdgreed Grazing Hill is the name of the bonfire. From here, we're going to continue up the mountain. You'll know you're on the right mountain when you see this statue at the top. And then, once you get up to the top of the cliff, we will be at Wyndham Ruins, where a boss actually does spawn here. I already killed them in the run, so just continue past Wyndham Ruins until you hit Mount Gelmir. Now, we're just going to continue down this path, straight north. We're going to grab the golden seed on the way. Then once you get to this fork, take a left. So we're going to continue along the path to the west until we reach the next bonfire, which will be at the base of this tower. Now, from this castle tower, you're just going to want to go to the left if you're facing it, and you'll come to this lake of lava, where you'll encounter a magma worm that we're also going to run past. Once you pass the magma worm, there will be a graveyard if you want to pick up some runes, and then we're going to go up the hill. Now there's a rune bag here, so we're going to do a big loop, and then we're going to continue. Be careful for his ranged attacks. We're going to hit Craftsman's Shack, and while we're here, we'll grab the pulley crossbow. Once you reach Hermit Village, you know you're getting close. If you continue to go to the east from Hermit Village, because you're basically doing a big loop around Mount Gelmir, you're going to hit this boss. Now you can run past her to get Comet Azur, but we're going to take her out, because why not? Relatively easy at this point in the game, so if you come here early, maybe a different story. But once we've taken her out, we get another memory stone, and we can talk to Azur. Now that we have Comet Azur, we only have one more piece to the puzzle, the hidden Cerulean tier. So first we need to get to the Bridge of Iniquity and make our way through Mount Gelmir until we hit the 9th Mount Gelmir campsite. Now, if you wish to fight the boss, be my guest, but you can skip right past them if you walk over these rocks. Now, we're going to just continue straight down this cliff until we hit the golden seed, and we're going to bank it to the left. Now we're going to descend this mountain, and we're going to go all the way until we find the map, which will be right at the bottom of this cliff. So, we're going to hit the map, and then we hit the Road of Iniquity bonfire. Head south from here to the Erd Tree, and it's time to fight the ulcerated tree spirit. Now, this guy is exceptionally fast, and when you're dodging his attacks, it is better to roll straight towards into them. But since we're a mage and we have range with our weapon art, it's not too much that we have to worry about. We can just hit him from a distance and do a backstep. And just repeat the process. I'm not gonna lie, this guy is pretty tanky though, so it's gonna take some time. Well, once you've grinded him down, he will drop the Hardened Leather tier and the Hidden Cerulean tier, which is what we're after. So hopefully this build guide was useful for you guys, and if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash that like and subscribe button. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, but they do take a lot of time, so I need y'all's support. Sombrowski out.